Hello and welcome. Today is watering day, and these house plants right here, they are soaking. I like to maybe once a month or so soak them really well, sometimes twice a month. And so as you can see, they are in a tub with water, and they are getting a good soaking today. So I have two of these tubs that are soaking right now with my plants that are in soil. That's what these all are. They're in some kind of a soil substrate, but they're all soaking right now, getting a real nice drink before I take them and I put them back in my plant area where I have them growing. So this is the area that those plants are typically in. As you can see, the top shelf, they're all in getting a good soak, except for this start that I'm working on here. I'll show you this. This is a Hoya, and the vine broke, and so I put it in here. That is sphagnum moss, and I'm letting it root really well before I actually pot it up more. So that got a drink today as well. And so I'm going to wipe down the shelf before I bring the plants back in, and I'll get that cleaned off. And then this shelf, these plants that are in soil or a substrate that is not just water, those are all in as well, getting their little soaking. And then this shelf also. So I still need to water all my orchids, as you can see, or maybe you can't really see, but all the orchids are dry right now. I do quite a bit of my orchids in water culture method, and so that means that they get 2 to 3 days in water, depending on the plant, and then I pour the water out, and they get anywhere from 4 to 7 days with no water, and then I do that again. So I just want to give you a quick look at what is going on with my watering day today. I'll be taking these plants in that are in soil and doing the same soaking that I'm doing right now with the others. And I will give all my orchids a really nice drink today. And when I'm ready to water the orchids, I will show you some of those, how I actually do that. So all the plants that were soaking in the other room, in the tub of water for plant day, they're all back. You can see this one here has a lot of new leaf growth. She's really healthy. She has beautiful leaves and the most interesting stems. Gorgeous plant. This one here, she's doing really well with her pink splotches coming through. She's been watered, nice and healthy. This one has interesting leaf shape. Again, doing quite well, very healthy. A new leaf coming in right there. And then this little pothos right here, doing quite well as well. She has really pretty leaves, and she's got nice coloration there. And then this is the little start that I showed you earlier of the Hoya. It basically got broke off, and so I laid it in this little container with the sphagnum moss, and I keep that sphagnum moss moist. And then this one is a start from one of the plants that was my sister's, and it's doing quite well also. So this top shelf have all been soaked and watered today, and the second shelf I'm still in the process. And as you can see, I've got my paper towel there, so I started cleaning. I cleaned the top shelf off, and I'll be cleaning this shelf as well. So for this week's watering, I am using Cal Magic seaweed extract. I always use this product in my fish aquariums. It's API stress coat, and it gets rid of chlorine and chemicals in tap water. So I don't have to let my water sit out for 24 or 48 hours. I just add probably 5 drops of that to a gallon of tap water. And then I have my K-Lite fertilizer that I'm adding this week, and my Quantum Total that I'm adding this week, along with my Epsom salt. So I add all of that into 1 gallon of water, and that is what I'm using this week. I do a very weak fertilizer solution basically every week. So as I showed earlier, the top shelf is now done. I have moved all the plants, orchids, everything off of the shelf so I can clean this. As you see, you end up with leaf drops and things, so I need to clean that off. And I have moved all of those that have not yet soaked or been watered over here. And so I will go through each one of these with you and show you how I water. So for all of these that I have sitting here, I have my little watering can that I'll be using. It's just a little plant watering can. And I have pre-measured all of the things that I showed you a moment ago. The Epsom salt, the Cali Magic, the seaweed extract, the API stress coat for fish that I use. So all of that is already pre-measured in this jug. It's just an old reused jug for distilled water. So I'll give it a real good shake. And then what I'll do is I'll put it into the watering container. Hopefully you can kind of see that. I'll move a plant or two around a little bit. Maybe get it in a little better. So I'll add it into this because it just makes it easier for some of my smaller containers that I need to add the water to. So I'll put some in there. And then I will take a look at some of my plants. This is a Hoya, and she is sitting in a self-watering container. Move this over here a little bit. So she's in a self-watering container. I've had her since May. She's doing quite well. I put her in this pond substrate in September 13th of this year. And she is in a self-watering container. And her self-watering container has a little window. And I don't know if you're going to see that, if there's enough light. But currently the water level on her is right here. And so all I'll do on her, let me move this back. See if I can do it for you. Nope, that's not going to help. Trying to get that light for you. Well, I don't seem to be able to get the light any better. So you can actually see the water. Maybe right there you can. You see the water levels are right here. And so all I'll do is I'll watch that window. I will come up to the top and I will start watering. And I'll watch that window. And when that window is to the top, then I stop. And now this plant is ready. She'll be good all week until it's time to take a look at her again in approximately another week. So that's how I plant, or how I water the ones that are in the self-watering containers. Set her down. And this one, set her back there. She's done. So this one here, it's one of my very small Cattleyas, still a baby, has a long way to grow before she ever gives me a bloom. I've actually had her now almost 3.5 years. But as you can see, when you do it in water, the containers get pretty bad after a while. So this is an opportunity for me to look at the plant's roots a little bit closer, up close and personal, see if there's any kind of bugs, anything that is beginning to rot that I need to pull off. These are old roots where the velamen, which is this outer coating, can you see that? the velamen has rotted on some of these or has just gotten old and dried up. And so I remove it, but I leave the roots on it because theoretically these roots will still provide some kind of moisture up to the plant, in theory, even without the velamen. So I don't cut them off. So I don't see any new damage on her. Her leaves, they feel nice and sturdy. I'm not able to bend those without hurting her. If I put pressure, she's not bending. She's not giving. Not really. So that's a good sign of a healthy orchid. She has had some stress in the past. You can see she's got some wrinkling. Maybe you can't see up here at the top of her leaf, kind of close to this black spot. She does have new growth down here, coming in right here. Eventually that will be a new pseudobulb like this little one here. And she has a new pseudobulb here that has come up that looks quite healthy. And so I'll just go ahead and I will put her back in a pot, a container, pardon me. And I have multiple of these containers. So I have a clean one right here. And I'll go ahead and I'll place her back, or not back, but into this new clean one, as you can see. And she is growing a little bit unusually, so it's hard to get her everything in the water without getting this pseudobulb in the water. So I do my best. So I'll go ahead and see if I can do this on screen so you can see it in front of the video. So there we go. So hopefully, oh, my hand's right in the way. I apologize. So let's try that again. So I'll just put enough water in to kind of come up to the base of this plant. This is a Cattleya. And so she's kind of at the base of the Cattleya. Hopefully you can see that. And so as I have watered her with this fresh water with fertilizer in it, you can hopefully see how that root with the velamen on it right there is starting to green up. Prior to this, it was more white. And here's another one that's greening up. Right in there, right above my thumbnail there. So they will green up. Here's another one. See the end here where it's been touching the water? And so once they're nice and green, then you know that they have gotten a really good drink. And here's another one up inside, right up here, how it's turned green instead of white. And so this, I will let this be. I might pour a little water out because that's a little high on that particular pseudobulb there. In fact, yes, I'm going to do that. I'll have to pause. All right, so I poured out some of that water because I did not like how that pseudobulb was basically all the way in the water, but that is still enough water. She will set in here. The evaporation from that water will continue to provide her some moisture throughout the week. Well, throughout the next probably 3 days before I dump the water out. But that is how I do it. And I will show you on this one as well. This one here, the jar, it's ready to be washed from being used in here. And I will go ahead and I will grab this clean jar. Like I said, I always have backups that are nice and clean. So I'll grab this clean jar. And while I have her out, I will take a look at her. And as you can see, there's a dead leaf right there. So I will take that out. It's not doing anything for the plant, and it could bring bugs or parasites. And right here, another dead leaf. And right here. So I will remove anything I find like that. I will give it a nice look over, see if there's any mealybugs, any spider mites, anything on it that gives me concern. And if I don't find anything, then I will put her back in to the water. So as you can see, she has a really healthy, very healthy new fat root growing right there. A lot of her other roots do have some damage. I have mentioned in other videos how I've had a lot of family things happen that I've had to pay more attention to my family than my orchids. But I leave these older roots on. I take the velamen off, and eventually, and see, these are still pretty hard actually as I'm pushing on these. Just because they're discolored, they're not squishy. These are still actually viable roots for her. So I'll just kind of give her a look over, kind of clean up a little bit. If I find little pieces, I'll pull them off. If I leave them on, they end up falling in the water and causing rot type issues, theoretically. So I don't know if you can see this, but there's a little bump right here. So I think that's going to be another root, much like this one over here. But we'll see in a few months or however long it takes. So this is a Vanda type orchid. So she's doing pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and put her in her new little vase, her new little water container. And she kind of supports herself with her leaves. Let me slide this over here out of the way without knocking anything over. So she kind of supports herself with her leaves. Hopefully you can see that when I set her in there. So that is just fine. And I will go ahead and I will start watering her. Let me see if I can move her back a bit so you can see her so I don't hold her and drop her. And so, yes, it looks like she's in the camera. So I will water from the side, and I will water until there's the amount that I want in there. Now this is a Vanda. They are very thirsty. So I'll give her a pretty good drink, about up to there. And she will be fine for the next 2 to 3 days. Sometimes on the Vandas, it depends on the growing, how they're looking. Sometimes I will just leave them in the water like overnight and dump it out. So I'll need to monitor her a little bit and see how I feel about it. But this will give her a nice, good drink. And that's how I water the different orchids, whether it's a Phalaenopsis, whether it's a Vanda, whether it's an Oncidium, Cattleyas. I do the basic same procedure for all of them. And I'm not going to do all of them because it'd be way too long of a video for you guys. But I just want to give you a quick look at kind of how I do the different types of plants that I have in my collection. So for the ones that are in soil base, I go and I soak them like I showed you. Like this little one here. She's a brand new purchase. I haven't done this shelf yet. I did soak her already with those others that I was soaking that I showed you, but I've not cleaned the shelf yet. And as you can see, there's little debris and things. And that's why I take the time to take all the plants off and wipe down the shelves. But these, I let soak. Those orchids back there, I will be washing or changing their containers, giving them a nice drink, similar to what you just saw me do. And that's kind of how I do my watering. I'll do the same with all of these. I will check their little windows, see if they need water. And that's how I do it. Give you a quick look at this beauty. She is so pretty. Hopefully her color is coming through. She's a beautiful white with purple splotches and a little bit of a yellowish green at the very center. It's very beautiful. Anyway, so I just kind of wanted to share the watering process, what I do. And this week I showed you the combination formula that I use for my fertilizer. Next week I do a little bit different. I still use the Cal Magic and the seaweed extract and the API stress coat, but I do have 2 other types of fertilizer that I'll add. So it gets different fertilizer every week. So today it got the fertilizer I showed you. Next week it'll get that other type of fertilized water. And then the week after that, it'll just be water. So that's kind of a quick look at how I water and the fact that I soak some. Others I just fill up, and others I change out their containers and hopefully continue to get nice growth. Y'all have a wonderful day, and thanks a lot for visiting. And if you have any questions or comments, please add them to the comments below, and I'll be happy to reach out. Thank you so much. Take care.